Hello and welcome to another in our video series, Overview of the Production Module in SAP Business One. In this session, we will cover Receipt from Production. We have a production order, number 167, ready to go in Business One. It's at a release status, and we see that there is one component set to be manual issue method, component number 200, and we see that this row is at a gray color, indicating that it has been closed, and that meant that the issue for production has in fact been completed, and so we can go ahead now and complete this production order. There are a number of ways to do that. One way is to right-click and choose Report Completion. The Receipt from Production window is opened, and we see that finished good number 100 will be set to be complete with a quantity of 1. We'll go ahead and add that. After adding the warning message, the receipt from production will be added. If we go back now and look at that receipt from production and call up the journal entry, we see that the inventory work in progress has been credited, and the value of the finished good that was created is debited and placed into the inventory finished goods account. You will notice that the WIP account credit is for the entire sum of all of the components that were used to create the finished good, not just those that were issued for production in a manual method. That's because the receipt for production automatically created a journal entry via its own automatic issue for production, in which all of those components that were set to backflush were decremented from inventory. So between this issue for production, which was automatically generated, and the one that was created manually, the sum equals the total amount of the inventory that was placed in stock. The second method is the direct method of receipt from production, and it is invoked by choosing the receipt from production menu choice. Before I do that, however, I'm going to take you back to the Pick Pack Manager to take a look at what's remaining from a prior pick list. We see that pick list number 8 for number 168, production order number 168, still has two components out there. Those are the two backflush components that were placed on the pick list so that the warehouse worker could pull all at the same time. I'm now going to go ahead and do the direct receipt from production. Before I do that, however, I want to return some of the components that were issued previously for production order number 168. To do that, I choose my return components in the lower right-hand corner. And here we have 168. There was one item that was picked or issued for production. It's component 200. We're going to go ahead and choose that. And we are going to say that that quantity was not actually used. Maybe this was an optional component at the time of production and creation of the finished good. This component was not used, and so it's going to be returned into stock. We hit add our message, and now that component was returned to stock. We can see that by visiting our inventory audit report. I have entered our selection criteria for the current date and only this component, and we see the last entry is from the receipt from production that we just created, which was a return component, and we see it is a +1, so the inventory has been placed back into stock. We are now going to go ahead and create a receipt for the finished good. I'll do that by choosing my production order button on the lower right, choose my 168, finished good 100. I'm going to set it to be a complete status, add, and accept the warning message. And now the production order has been reported as complete. If I go back to my pick pack manager, when I looked at the picked drawer, I see that pick list number 8, the 2 rows that represented the 2 backflush components, are now marked as complete and are no longer in a pick status. Pick list 8 is now closed. One final step, we go back to our production order, number 168. You see now that the backflush components are now also grayed out. The second row, because we returned it into stock, has been set to a white status. The final step is to change this production order into a closed status. We have our warning because we had the one that we returned, but we know that it's correct, and so we will say yes, and that production order is now closed. That concludes our session on receipt from production in an overview of the production module in SAP Business One. We hope that you found it useful, and we hope that you will watch the other videos in this series. Thank you.